Great to have you with us. In our first story, criminologist Professor Kenneth Agyemang-Atefa has added his voice to calls for the Director General of the Criminal Investigations Department, CID, to resign. The Executive Secretary of the National Identification Authority, NIA, said Mame Tiwa Adodankwa would have saved her integrity by not waiting to be removed following the numerous calls for her to step down. Calls for Mrs. Adodankwa to step down led Twitter trends yesterday after the results of a DNA test for the 4 missing Takoradi girls were announced Monday by the police. Before the shocking news, the CID Director General had said the girls, Priscilla Blessing Bentum 21, Priscilla Mantibia Crunchy 18, Ruth Love Quason 18 and Ruth Abaka were alive and their whereabouts were known. Speaking on Joy FM Super Morning Show, however, the NIA boss said Mame Tiwa must bow out honorably.
Where individuals themselves know that they have gooped, that they have, by their act of omission or commission, generated a situation that is untenable, that undermines public confidence in the institutions that they lead, and that also have the potential to affect future dynamics and effectiveness of the institution, that they can do the honorable thing of not waiting to be fired, but to tender their resignation and to apologize in grace and exit the scene so that pain is assuaged, confidence is assured, and innovation is triggered. And I think this is one of those moments where people have to swallow their pride, where as much as you may think you have been misunderstood or that the circumstances have not worked to your favor or have worked against you, that you do the honorable thing, you do the noble thing of saluting the state and taking a bow and a good exit. If I had had the opportunity of speaking to the lady I call my niece, I would have advised her to please take a bow in dignity and step out.
Professor Atefa has also admitted an operational national identification system would have somehow facilitated investigations into the search for the girls.
President Kufuor started this initiative in 2006. That is why we should have continued. That is why we shouldn't, as a nation, have politicized it. That is why we shouldn't, as a nation, have starved the National Identification Authority of the financial the financial resources and the competent leadership that it required in order to succeed. And that is why I think His Excellency the President at this point and this nation, we as a people are all collectively galvanized in our resolve to make it succeed this time. You see, if we had the kind of national identification system that is now, the one that is being implemented since April 29th of 2019, one that is biometric, that has a chip embedded in it, that captures the biometrics, all 10 fingers, and the iris, and the digital address, and of course the facial of the person, and that locates every person where they are, and that also has the capacity. Your phone, your telephone, every single SIM card in circulation in this country would, when the system has been implemented, would have to be re-registered and ascribed to a particular person. And each time a call is made, it is traceable and trackable to a person and to a location.
Meanwhile, pathologist and former Director General of the Ghana Health Service, Professor Agyemang-Atefa, has challenged the authenticity of the outcome of the DNA test conducted by the police into the 4 missing Takoradi girls. The police declared the 4 missing girls are dead after analyzing the human remains retrieved about 4 weeks ago in Takoradi. But Professor Agyemang-Atefa says the outcome of the test is problematic. He spoke on PM Express.
Heard of this news yesterday night, and it disturbed me enormously because it was almost as if we had closed the chapter. But I've been in pathology since 1980, and in every situation it calls for a second opinion. after how many years? 39 years of doing pathology. I don't believe that what I say is conclusive, particularly when it involves laboratory work and it depends on even the temperature within the laboratory. It depends on the fluids that are used in denaturing. It involves, the level of degeneration. And these are bodies that were found in a septic tank, we're told. So at the end of the day, you need somebody who is extremely experienced. And I don't believe the forensic pathology laboratory has somebody who is so competent that in a situation like this, and particularly of such national interest, that we will not even attempt to seek a second opinion. I will stand corrected. If they sought a second opinion and it is from a very experienced forensic pathologist,
we don't have those details.
We don't have those details.
And they would have done us a lot of good by telling us.
Absolutely. So for me, I don't think that this matter is concluded yet. You see, anywhere else, just to make assurance double sure, they would have done this. I mean, if, for example, we took Scotland Yard, for example, having done everything, they would probably even seek experience from an academic forensic pathologist to just come, check over, and make sure that everything that has been said or done is, what it should be. But I don't think we've gone that far. And to conclude and even go straight to relations and tell them that this is what has happened really worries me. I think that in areas where we do not have enough expertise, it is always important that the police collaborates with an established and a well-seasoned police force or police service. So, for example, I know the problems of police forensic pathology in this country. For years, we've not had a police forensic pathologist. Currently, the police pathologist, took up the job not too long ago from Konfanochi Teaching Hospital. What level of training he has done in forensics, I don't know. The forensic laboratory itself, who's been there, what is the level of training, what is the level of expertise, what is the link, who is, in a sense, the authorizing laboratory, all these things must be established.
Well, despite the contestation of the DNA test announced by the police, one family out of the 4 has, however, accepted the outcome of the DNA test. Family of prisoner Mantebia Kwanche said it does not have the means to conduct an independent DNA test. Brother of prisoner Michael Kwanche told JoyNews they have no option but to accept what the police has told them. They will, however, welcome any financial assistance to enable them conduct the DNA test if need be. It is evident the development has been traumatizing families of the 4 victims. A clinical psychologist, Dr. Emmanuel Hobson, says the situation exposes the families to health risks requiring close monitoring and management. Still in the subject and in the same geographical location, family of a 19-year-old girl who survived kidnapping in Takrady last year is calling on governments to strengthen support systems for victims. This comes after police declared dead 4 girls who had been missing for over a year. Mama Esther, not her real name, has struggled to pay just about a half of 6,000 Ghana cedis she took out as a loan to pay for her daughter's medical expenses. The girl was found in a critical situation days after unidentified persons seized and bundled her into a taxi to an unknown destination. Nana Aljima caught up with the mother and daughter, who now live in the Ashanti region, and filed this report.
The family and victims' identities have been concealed in this report for editorial considerations. I choose to call the girl Eradra and the mother Mama Esther.
So, almost sudden,
Mama Esther says a prayer for the families of the 4 dead girls. She is obviously disturbed after hearing police had declared the Takrade girls dead. She says, when I heard the police announce their death, I became very sad. I didn't take it lightly at all. It dawned on me that it could have been my daughter. I couldn't sleep all night. After being found dumped by the roadside, then second-year senior high school student Erajua had to return to school. She partially lost her memory and behaved unusual, for which her colleagues branded her mad. She says, I have been to almost every hospital, herbalist and pastor. It was through all of them that she is doing well now. When I got her back, she moved like a snake. I suspect they wanted to use her for rituals. Presently, Erajua cannot remember she was kidnapped for 4 days in August last year. At the time of our visit to their residence, she had strangely not eaten after police confirmed death of the 4 girls. Mama Esther is selective with the content her daughter watches on television and listens to on radio. She can't afford a relapse since financing her health care is still a challenge, besides the emotional stress. She says, I do not have anybody to turn to for help. Her father is an old footballer. In his years, they played for fun, so they didn't make enough money. We are both old and unemployed, but gradually, we are paying our debts. My prayer is that God helps us pay the rest of the money. Erajua now spends time writing poems.
The habitats for fishes, the source of life.
She is gradually recovering from the ordeal she went through during the kidnapping, which affected her education. In spite of the challenge, she managed to make B and C grades in all subjects except a fail in mathematics in the 2018 WASI.
What I have in mind right now is me resitting for the exams. I really want to resit. Because I really want to be a lawyer. That's what I want to be. It's really hard right now for mom and dad to raise funds for me. The financial background is not good. It's not very strong. So I told them I would like to get a job and do it for some time, get money and then support them. Finance for my education.
With some social support, her mother hopes she is able to resit the whole examination as a private candidate to enable her proceed to the tertiary level and become the lawyer she dreams to be.
Yes, tried.
Nana Ojima reporting.
Where my junior brother schools.
Still live on JoyNews today, and coming up in our citizen-driven series Dear Nanado today, we tell you the stories of 2 unemployed graduates of the School of Hygiene now doing menial jobs, including selling iced blocks to get by. Stay with us.
We've not been posted since we completed school, and this is what I found myself doing, just to fend for myself.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, this week on Dear Nanado, we hear the stories of graduates of the School of Hygiene promised jobs after completion, but are now doing menial jobs to get by. In today's episode, we shine the light on 2 stories, that of the graduate selling iced blocks and the story of another graduate washing clothes for a living. They're worried a promise by the president in the lead up to the 2016 election to employ them is yet to see the light of day. Jojo Kobna reports.
No food for lazy man. Body double your work. Anything where you want to, you go get them if you want.
If I were to ask each one of you in this chamber today to tell me what the #1 problem was in your constituency, I suspect there would be one uniform answer: jobs.
President Mahama might not recognize the suffering of the people of Ghana and might not be hearing their cries because he has sadly insulated himself from the reality on the ground. He has probably not met young Godwin. He did what every child is urged to do. He went to school. He studied hard. He got good grades. He chose to go to the School of Hygiene, and he finished 3 years ago. He is still sitting at home. He hasn't got a job.
My name is Dr. Dobeda Sala, a past student of Whole School of Hygiene, 2017 batch.
Unemployed since 2017, it has not been easy for Dorcas. Desperate times calls for desperate measures. So after failing to get a job as an environmental health officer, she tried to be enterprising.
We've not been posted since we completed school. And this is what I found myself doing, just to fend for myself. I do laundry for people, then they pay me a little so that I can feed for myself. It's not easy. That's not been easy.
One day you go be, one day you go be, but when one day go come.
I'm a graduate of School of Hygiene. I completed 2017. Yeah, and since then we're not employed, and I'm still in the house helping my wife to sell ice block. That makes me cry. Very bad. I'm very frustrated. I still have the hope that one day, so far as I have life, I'll still grab the posting or the later one.
One day you go be, one day you go be, but when one day go come.
Diana Nado for this week airs tonight on the JoyNews channel. Look out for the specific airing times. Let's take you to the Central Region now. And the Asinfosu Divisional Crime Officer DSP Daniel Date and 4 other officers have been implicated in the corruption allegation leveled against them by the committee set up to investigate the matter. The committee set up by the Regional Police Commander revealed in its investigations that there were serious issues surrounding the Divisional Crime Officer and 4 other officers accused by the concerned youth of Asinfosu. Briefing the media in Cape Coast, Central Regional Police Commander COP Paul Awini indicated that the committees made 5 recommendations, 3 of which have been forwarded to the national headquarters for approval before implementation is effected. Richard Kojonyako has more.
On August 15, 2019, the Regional Police Commander established a committee to investigate the allegations of corruption and unprofessional conduct leveled against the Asinfosu Police. The Asinfosu Divisional Crime Officer and some officers at the Asinfosu Police Division were subject of the allegations by the youth of the area. The concerned youth alleged bribery, extortion, and other unprofessional conduct. The committee, as part of its work, met with various stakeholders in the area, including chiefs, opinion leaders, members of the Asin Youth Association, and some victims of the alleged police unprofessional conduct. Central Regional Police Commander COP Paul Awini told the media the recommendations of the committee would be strictly adhered to.
The committee has come out with 5 key recommendations. I'm so sorry I cannot actually come out with the specific recommendations, but I must say that these 5 key recommendations will help us to be able to carry out policing very effectively and very efficiently in the division. The concerns of the association, the youth association, we believe when we carry out these recommendations will be addressed, and our our personnel on the ground also should be able to do their work much more professionally. 2 of those recommendations we can handle in this region. 3 of them we are going to make recommendations to the national headquarters for necessary action to be taken.
COP Awini also revealed the recommendations of the committee encouraged the Regional Police Administration to conduct regular intelligence-led swoops at narcotic camps in Asenfosu and its environs, while undertaking regular education to educate the public on their rights. COP Awini expressed regret that some key witnesses who could have helped to link other police officers to the case failed to turn up to meet the committee.
There were some key witnesses who did not turn up to meet the police. And some of these key witnesses, if they had turned up, it would have helped us to be able to link some police officers to specific offenses. And probably that would have helped us to take certain specific action against those particular officers. But suffice it to say that the meetings with all the stakeholders who turned up has put us in a very good position to take certain steps that will help the cause of carrying out policing very effectively and efficiently in the Asenfosu division.
In an unrelated event, a notorious criminal in Cape Coast was arrested by the Central Regional Police for his alleged involvement in an armed robbery case that happened at Koforidua in the eastern region. Nana Intim Jakari was initially rescued by the police from being linked by some residents of Nkamfua, a suburb of Cape Coast, on grounds that he had kidnapped some children. However, investigations into the kidnapping allegations proved to be untrue, but the police, upon suspicion that the vehicle he was using could have been stolen, launched an investigation into it and was subsequently arrested. Richard Kwejenya Akon, Joy News, Cape Coast.
Back to Accra, and Information Minister Kojo Opon Kroma says attempts to run down Asante-Hene Otumfuo Osei II and Ghana's Chieftaincy Institution are unhealthy. Former Chief of Staff Julius Debra recently challenged claims made by the Ashanti King during his speech as the UN that he played a role in getting former President Mahama to concede defeat in the 2016 election. The NDC subsequently held a news conference to clarify their position amidst accusations the NPP is pitching them against Menchia. Speaking at a media briefing in Accra, the Information Minister said government does not expect individuals and politicians to run down the Chieftaincy Institution because of the role they play in national development.
It is disappointing that some have chosen to attack the Otumfuo for his comments. The government of Ghana considers even the invitation of the Otumfuo to the UN to speak as a mark of high respect for, first of all, the Otumfuo specifically, and for traditional authority in Ghana in general. And traditional authority in Ghana has been very helpful in helping support the cohesion of our Ghanaian society. So even if, may I say, the truths they speak are unpalatable to you, the government view is that we should not be attacking and running down traditional authority or the Otumfuo specifically, particularly for politicians who every now and then would have to be brought together by these same traditional rulers. And for young politicians as such, we should be very careful and desist from any acts that appear to be calling them names or attacking them or to be running them down. It is unhealthy.
Still live on JoyNews today with me, Daniel Dazi. Many more stories coming in the bulletin. Now though, the United Nations International Children's Fund UNICEF is seeking to bring voices of Ghanaian youth onto a single database to contribute ideas for solving social and national issues. Ghana office of the fund has launched a campaign to sign up 1 million young Ghanaians on its social innovation platform to strengthen youth participation in national discourse. Nana Sentimenta has more.
The platform, dubbed YouReport, is a social messaging tool and data collection system which seeks to leverage citizen engagement, inform interest groups and foster positive change for development. Over 60,000 people have since joined the U-Report platform, as highlighted by UNICEF Country Director Anne-Claire Dufay at the launch in Kumasi. Among over 2,000 participants who attended the ceremony is 20-year-old Joshua Nate from Asesewa in the Eastern region. He is confident U-Report can be used to address child marriage prevalence in the area.
When we talk of child marriage in my area, it's a very difficult issue to talk about. We see young girls who are at the age of 15, 12, 14 getting into marriage. And the main challenge that leads into this marriage is out of teenage pregnancy. So it's a very challenge that we need to tackle in our district. But you see, we cannot tackle it alone. And I think this platform, that is U-Report, can help us to bring out our voices, and which will enable our voices to reach stakeholders to be able to address the challenges that we are facing in our communities, because we do not have the time to go to them, or we will not get the chance to go there. But I think this is an important platform to help us to reach them so that they address our challenges for us.
Ghanaians above 10 years can register to join the platform by testing to join via 1755 for free. Anne-Claire Dufay throws more light.
Already that U-Report in many countries has solved issues related to, not solved, but contributed to share information about Ebola, about polio. Polio was in Ghana a few weeks ago. We are now running a campaign of vaccination. It has allowed people to bring up sensitive issues, sex for grades, for example, in another country. So it's up to young people to actually share their concerns or share their ideas, so that they can contribute to the fulfillment of children's rights and the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals.
UNICEF ambassador and High Life musician Ms. V urged the youth to believe in themselves to develop their talent for self-actualization and national development.
So I decided to be myself. And this is weird, Vera. I get up from bed, I walk to class alone, I study alone. I'm a loner, basically. So I do everything on my own. I laugh at jokes that are not even funny. That's me. I will crack a joke, and to me, in my head, it's the funniest thing ever. And I will laugh with all my heart. Yes, so I was very strange. But the minute I decided to be myself is when everything changed for me. It's when I met Richie Mensah, is when I joined Links Entertainment, is when I started working with the World Bank, is when I started. Basically, being yourself pays. It doesn't matter how weird you are. This is the lesson I learned. How weird you are means it's how special you are, basically.
Nana Asensu Mensah reporting.
Coming up in business, Economist Intelligence Unit warns new pricing mechanism for cocoa farmers could rather worsen their plight. That's coming up in business. Stay with us.